So continuing on with our look at surface areas of solids, this video we will look at pyramids and cones. So remember from yesterday's video, pyramids and cones go to points. All right, so if you have a pyramid that is going to a point, if you were to cut this all out and lay it flat and create a net, it's going to look something like this. So you could have a square base or a triangular base, but all of the sides, if you were to take a knife and cut those sides and lay it flat, our lateral sides are going to be triangles, not rectangles, correct? So if we were to add up all of these areas, we would have the area of the base, we call that capital B. So for this, that would be S times S if it was a square. And then the lateral area, 4 times 1/2 SL. Well, where does that come from? Notice that if we took a look at just one of these purple triangles here, and the area of a triangle is 1/2 the base of the triangle, in this case that's S, 1/2 S, times the height of the triangle, which they're calling L. Well, notice here, L goes up the side. L is called the slant height of the pyramid. So let's go back here on the previous page. If you had a pyramid and it was sitting on its base, the height of the pyramid, H, is from the base, perpendicular to the base, straight up to the vertex of the pyramid. That is not the same as the slant height. The slant height, L, is the length from one of the edges up to the vertex. Which one would be longer here, the height or the slant height? I hope you said slant height. So if you're given the slant height, finding the surface area of a regular pyramid is pretty straightforward. It's the area of the base plus 1/2 P. P here stands for the perimeter, the distance all the way around the outside. So if it's a square and if each side was S, the perimeter would be 4S. And then times L, the slant height, which remember is the height of that side if you laid it flat. 1/2 PL. Remember, the 1/2 comes from the shape of this being a triangle, 1/2 the base times the height. And why do they use P instead of doing 1/2 SL plus 1/2 SL plus 1/2 plus SL plus 1/2 SL? That's 4, right? They just said take 1/2 of all of it, and this works. All right, so let's first do this example 2. Find the surface area of the regular pyramid. So we first need to find the area of the base. Our base is a square that's 10 by 10. So 10 by 10 is 10 squared or 100 square centimeters. Then we need to find the perimeter. The perimeter is the distance around the outside of the base. This again is 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10, or 40. And then the slant height is 13. So it's actually right down here, the area of the base, 10 times 10 is 100, 1/2, perimeter, L, plug and chug. You get 360. I don't like that they don't have the units on there. That should be 360 centimeters squared, right? Because that's what we're talking about. Surface area is always in square centimeters. Interestingly enough, example 1 is a little bit more confusing because they give us an example. The pyramid at this university has a height of 192. The base is 345 and it's a square. Find the surface area. What they have not given us, if you can see this in your book, is the L. The L they have not given us, and we need the L to find the surface area. So the way that you do this is quite a challenging problem. If you see what they've drawn for us here, from the height, the distance to the edge of the side, and then the slant height, this is a right triangle. So we had the height, now we're in the middle of the base, we go out to the side, and this is our slant height, L. So the height of this pyramid was 192 feet. If this put us in the middle of this base, and if the base is 345 feet across, the middle of that would be halfway. This distance here is going to be half of 345, or 172.5. And these are all in feet. And we want to find the slant height L. So when we have a right triangle and we know two sides, we want to find the hypotenuse, we use the Pythagorean theorem. The Pythagorean theorem, if you remember, is a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. C in this case is our L, so I'll just use L. So this could be our A and this could be our B. Let's just plug these in. 192 squared plus 172.5 squared is equal to L squared. Grab your calculadora. Well, or we could just peek over here instead of crunching that out. You get 66,000. Square root both sides. So the slant height L is about 258.1. L is about 258.1. Once we found this, now we can go ahead and use the formula for the surface area, and we could find the surface area of that pyramid. The area of the base would be 345 by 345. The perimeter would be 345 times 4, and the slant height, L, 258.1. Don't forget your 1/2, plug and chug. So that is how you find the surface area of a pyramid. Now let's take a look at cones. Notice that I'm not dragging any of my own found objects in this time. It's a little bit trickier to find cones and pyramids laying around the house. Okay, so if you do have a cone, remember a cone has a base that's a circle and then it goes to a point. A cone has a height also. This would be the height of the cone, H, and it has a slant height, L. So imagine this cone made of paper, and let's take a slice of it and lay it flat. This is the net. This is what the net looks like. We want to find the surface area. So the base, the big B, is a circle. So there's pi r squared. And then now you have this thing. It's not really a triangle and it's not really a circle. How in the world do we know what the area of this thing is? Well, it's pretty hard to prove, so we're just going to take their word for it. The mathematicians, and you could probably prove this, but I don't know how, the area of this thing is pi times r times L, L being the slant height. So put it all together, you've got the base, pi r squared, plus the sides, the lateral area, pi r L. So let's go ahead and just do example 3. It's just going to be a plug and chug. Find the surface area of the cone. You might be overwhelmed by all of these formulas. Here's a hint on how to try to remember them. Every time you do a problem, write the formula out first. It's a very, very good idea to always do this. So you got pi r squared plus pi r L. That's our surface area of a cone. Now let's plug it in. The radius is the radius of the base, that's 7. that goes in for R, goes in for R here, and then L, the slant height, is 24. And then just do the math, and you will get, if this is in inches, this should be 681.7 square inches. They didn't put the units in. Make sure you put your units in. Just as we were given the height, let me show you something over here. Number 6 on the next page. If we wanted to find the surface area of this cone and we were given the height of the cone, do you know how you would find the L required in the formula? Yes, again, you'd have to create a right triangle here and use the Pythagorean theorem to find the slant height of the cone. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Comes out to be about 7 centimeters. And then to find the surface area, we just plug that into our formula. All right, I hope that you enjoy these. And remember to shoot me a message if you would like to see any of these problems done out in a separate video. Take care.